Hey guys, King of Charmanders here, and today I bring you a video on the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun versus the Super Weapons. Is it meta? So this video covers the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun, and we will compare the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun and take a look at where it measures against the best weapons in the game. Thanks to Black Diablo for the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun footage. He's working on getting his to 10.5, so thank you to this sweet footage. You're going to see it throughout this video, and he's definitely practiced a hell of a lot with it. So I'm going to feature this footage here, and hopefully it gives you a decision of whether or not you want to build the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun. First, we're going to start off with the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun versus the Magnamalo Heavy Bowgun. So as you see this comparison right here, the Magnamalo Heavy Bowgun does more damage, but forces you to be up close due to spread ammo. So that's one of the reasons why the Magnamalo Heavy Bowgun is so good, because spread ammo does a ton of damage. Now if you look at the damage gap, it lowers with a full build, however Magnamalo Heavy Bowgun still beats out Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun. So you go from a whooping like 4% in between the Magnamalo Heavy Bowgun and the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun without the full build. With the full build, it's only 2%. So the gap does close, but unfortunately, unless the Heavy Bowgun, or the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun, can beat out every other Heavy Bowgun convincingly, this already disqualifies the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun from the super weapon conversation. But what is a super weapon? Well, if you're a Star Wars fan, that's the Death Star and everything that's extremely powerful. In Monster Hunter now, I coin a super weapon as the most powerful weapons that beat all other weapons in either its own element and or every other weapon. So, in its own element, for example, the Kushala Bow is the most powerful ice bow in the game, and we're going to get more on that later. In addition, it must also have a unique mechanic / ability that makes it stand out from the rest. The Black Diablos Bow is a super weapon with its bow charge level 3 at damage level 4. It also beats nearly every other bow in sheer damage except for Kushala Bow. So if you look at the data right here, I have it circled right here, there's the Black Diablos Bow right there, and you look, it beats every other weapon in the game as for elemental etc. except for Kushala Bow in terms of just sheer damage. In addition, the Kushala Bow and the Teostra Bow are also super weapons as they are the strongest ice and blast weapons in the game that also carry the bow charge level 3 to damage level 4. So that mechanic is just incredibly powerful, and again, they meet the criteria because they beat out the rest of their elements. And this brings us to the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun versus the Black Diablos Bow true damage and full builds comparison. So we're comparing the damage between the Black Diablos Bow and the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun. For the full builds, we will compare the top 3 of the bow and the Heavy Bowgun. So we're going to look at all the top 3 just in case you're like, oh wait, hold on, this, and this. But if you look at it, there is actually a very minimal difference as far as the top 3 builds. But to make this comparison accurate, we'll maximize the DPS or damage per second using full focus / reload speed / recoil down requirements. So after we input all this in, per the data, the Black Diablos Bow beats the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun by over 16% in true damage and over 14% with their full builds. In addition, the bow's a lot more consistent than the Heavy Bowgun because the Heavy Bowgun might have you guarding or you have to really adjust and move to keep that critical distance. Because the Black Diablos Bow has charge sidestep, it's consistent and it's able to consistently pour on damage where the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun cannot. But if we want to go further beyond this analysis, we're going to look at the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun versus the Black Diablos Bow in terms of Driftsmelt builds. So we're going to compare the Black Diablos Bow and Heavy Bowgun's Driftsmelt build damage. Now, as you see here, we're going to do it with the top 3 because top 3 would make it consistent and just in case you want to see some options. But despite that, per the data, even with full Driftsmelt builds, the Heavy Bowgun loses to the Black Diablos Bow. The Black Diablos Bow beating the Heavy Bowgun by over 13% when we compare their Driftsmelt builds. So no matter how you spin it, no matter where you put it, it doesn't even come close to matching the Black Diablos Bow. And this brings us to the question, is the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun a super weapon? Sadly, Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun is not a super weapon. I already said it, but based on the data we already went over, there is no current mechanic that makes the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun stand out. However, there's one way they could have done it. They could have made the Black Diablos Heavy Bowgun's ammo speed reload fast with reload speed 3, and that would have made it to where it significantly increased its damage per second, and it may have put it on par or exceeded the Black Diablos Bow, just in terms of sheer damage though. Charge sidestep with the Black Diablos Bow is just way too dang good, and that's the reason why its damage is so consistent, and most hunters have hailed it as the most powerful weapon in the entire game. Actually, a majority have based on the data for the 1-year anniversary. If you look at the ammo sets right here, we have it, yes, it has 2 pierce ammo, without reload speed 3 or recoil down 1. The requirements, you see you get average, average, slow, and very slow. Even if you do put it at its max where you have level 1 recoil down and level 3 reload speed 3, you see it turns to low, low, but normal and slow. So you can't reload fast at all with the Black Diablos heavy bowgun. And if it was given fast, it may have been actually way better, and it may have given the Black Diablos Bow a run for its money.
What's the play?
Well, we want to take the high ground, okay? So let's put the biggest gun up on that ridge.
Gotcha. Where do you want to be?
Where are you going?
What are you talking about?
You
have a big gun. You are not the big gun.
Tony, don't be...
And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Unfortunately, when compared to the Black Diablos Bow, the heavy bowgun is not the big gun. And hopefully the heavy bowgun gets a buff in the future. The thing is, when people tell me like, oh my gosh, the heavy bowgun is so good, and then you slap the data in front of them, they're going to be in disbelief. But here's the thing, if you want your weapon to get better or a buff in the future, you have to recognize something is wrong with it. If you keep saying something is good, it's probably not going to get a buff. That's the reality of it. So you should all be saying, your weapon is not great, it absolutely sucks, or there's something bad about it, because that's how it's going to get better. This data doesn't mean the Black Diablos heavy bowgun isn't worth using, it's just not the powerful weapon some of us were hoping for. I was really hoping this thing was going to be just as good as the main series games, but you have to make some limitation for the main series games onto Monster Hunter now, otherwise it wouldn't be fair. But if we take a look at it, unfortunately, it's just you need to do something to make the bowguns or heavy bowguns much more powerful so that they can rival the other ranged weapons. It needs more respect on it, but in order for it to get more respect, it must be buffed. With that being said, please do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. Hopefully you're enjoying your heavy bowguns. I'm still planning on building mine in the future because I want that gold heavy bowgun medal, and the only way to do that is to build stuff and then destroy monsters with it. But I do plan on building my Black Diablos heavy bowgun 210.5 one of these days. Not now, later on I'll do it. Good luck on your grinds, and I will see y'all on the next video.